sealed envelope traveling through the hands of fate itself. The energy around you this week is different, denser, louder, almost echoing with a spiritual weight that refuses to be ignored. Ever since November began, your intuition has been whispering that something is coming, something you didn't ask for, something you didn't expect, yet something that somehow feels destined. And now, as we approach November 17th through November 21, that feeling is sharpening into clarity. A legal notice with your name is finding its way to you, and the universe is aligning for a revelation that has been waiting in silence for years, perhaps even generations. You did not land here by chance. Scorpio never stumbles into truth. They are summoned to it. And right now you are being summoned. There is a message sealed for you, not emotional, not symbolic, but material, literal, written in ink and witnessed by law. And the moment I tuned into your energy today, I felt the unmistakable pull of something ancestral opening, like a long-closed door finally creaking in surrender. Someone has chosen you, Scorpio. Someone has written your name into a document meant to survive time. And between November 17 and 21, its presence begins to surface. Before we go deeper into this message, into the tarot, into the astrology, into the soul contracts behind what is unfolding, I want you to pause. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath soften. Let yourself recognize this moment for what it truly is, a meeting point between destiny and divine timing. And now, as always, I need to offer this gentle truth in a way that protects both of us, without breaking the sacred energy moving between us. What I'm about to share is a reflection, a symbol, a mirror held up to a possible timeline woven in the fabric of your soul's journey. If it resonates, take it as confirmation. If it doesn't, let it drift past like a cloud across a late November sky. You are the one who decides what becomes truth for you. Scorpio, the moment I opened your cards, I felt it. The tremor of something written, something signed long ago. The wheel of fortune did not simply fall, it turned. And when this card turns in your reading during a week like this, when Pluto, your ruling planet, forms a rare and potent alignment with Saturn, it signals karmic restoration, ancestral debt paid, and the unlocking of a chapter that was sealed before you even knew it existed. Right behind it came the Ten of Pentacles, not in the future position but in the present. This is legacy, this is family property, this is inheritance, sometimes material, sometimes spiritual, often both. But here is where the energy becomes even more intriguing. The person who wrote your name, the person who made the decision that now changes the trajectory of your future, does not feel close, not emotionally, not physically. Their energy feels distant, older, contemplative, someone whose life unfolded at the edges of your awareness rather than at the center. When I tapped into this presence, I felt solitude, reflection, a quiet kind of love that never had a chance to be expressed out loud. The Hermit appeared with the King of Cups, an older figure, possibly a man, possibly someone who carried emotional wisdom but struggled to show it in life, someone who watched from afar, someone who remembered you when you had no idea they were thinking of you. Their decision to include your name in a legal document was not impulsive, it was meditative. It was intentional. It was guided by something higher than logic, almost as if they sensed your suffering, your resilience, your heart, your capacity to break and still rise. And in that recognition they knew, you are the one who would honor what they left behind. This is why the universe is bringing this forward now, not earlier, not years ago, but now because your energy has finally aligned with receiving. Inheritance is not just about wealth, it is about readiness. And Scorpio, for the first time in a long time, you are ready. But with every revelation comes a shadow. The moon appeared in your reading not as fear but as secrecy, This inheritance or this legal notice comes with a story behind it, one that was hidden, one that may have been buried intentionally or out of shame, guilt, or generational conflict. The moon tells us that within your family tree, something was left unsaid. A silence was passed down like a folded letter no one dared to open. And now, the universe is placing that letter in your hands. Somewhere in your lineage, Scorpio, someone was forgotten, cast out, or misunderstood. And you, the healer, the truth finder, the soul who rises where others fall, you are the one chosen to bring closure to that silence. This isn't just about receiving. It's about remembering. It's about becoming the bridge between what was broken and what will be restored. If you have been feeling emotional fatigue lately, if you've had strange dreams involving older figures, if you've seen repeating numbers, especially 111, 818, 1010, if you felt a pressure in your chest, a weight behind your heart chakra, it's because your energy is already processing the shift. Scorpio feels destiny before it arrives. And let me tell you something with absolute sincerity. Between November 17 and 21, something begins. It may be a letter. It may be a phone call. It may be an email from a legal office you've never heard of. Your first reaction may be disbelief. You may think it's a mistake, but Scorpio, your name is not written by mistake. This is your turning point. Your story is no longer about survival. It is about inheritance, of wealth, of power, of identity, of healing. If you feel this message resonating, if your intuition is vibrating just a little louder, if you feel that familiar Scorpio knowing rising in your chest, write in the comments, "I am ready to receive what was written for me." Your words are a key. Your intention is a doorway. Scorpio, as we move deeper into this message, the energy surrounding you grows heavier, not in burden but in significance. There is something almost ancient about this moment, something that feels older than you, older than the person who left their signature on that document, older than the story you've been told about your own past. The cards reveal that you are not just receiving an inheritance, you are stepping into a karmic restoration that spans timelines. And this kind of shift, it doesn't arrive gently. It arrives with ceremony. The Justice card has not left your energy. It hovers like a stamp on an envelope, like a final verdict the universe has already delivered on your behalf. It tells me that whatever is arriving between November 17 and 21 is not only legally binding, it is spiritually binding. It is not simply a letter, it is a correction, a balancing of scales, a return to you of something that was withheld, misplaced, or denied across years, perhaps even decades. And behind that justice energy, a story emerges. The energy of the Five of Swords and Seven of Swords begins to surface, not to warn you, but to prepare you. You may face whispers, jealousy, confusion, or even accusations from others who believe they were more deserving of this inheritance. There may be siblings, distant relatives, or people who, in their own pain or entitlement, will try to convince you that you don't belong in this story. They may question your connection to the giver. They may question your worthiness. They may even try to guilt you into walking away from what has your name rightfully written on it. But Scorpio, listen closely. You were not added to this legal document. You were chosen. Chosen in silence. Chosen in contemplation. Chosen when no one else was watching. The hermit energy that appeared in part 1 returns as a guiding light. This person, a quiet observer, an older figure whose life was marked by emotional depth rather than emotional expression, carried a memory of you. A small moment, a kind gesture, a glance, a story told by someone else, an impression they couldn't forget, a soul imprint. And that imprint was enough. You need to understand how Scorpio energy works. You impact people deeply, permanently, even when you don't realize it. You leave a mark on those you barely speak to. You awaken emotions in those who never learned how to express them. And sometimes That silent impact becomes legacy. The King of Cups and Hermit together reveal a person who lived much of their life internally. They loved quietly, they grieved quietly, they forgave quietly. And when their time came to decide where their possessions, wealth, land, or symbolic belongings should go, they didn't choose based on logic. They chose based on soul resonance. They chose based on energy. They chose the person who would honor what they left behind, and that was you. This is why the universe is asking you to open your heart, not just to the possibility of receiving, but to the revelation that your existence mattered to someone in ways you did not see. Still, the moon warns that the story behind this inheritance may be complicated. There may be family secrets, illegitimate ties, estranged relatives, a hidden relationship, a broken bond, something someone tried to bury. And when you receive the legal notice or when you hear the news, someone may attempt to rewrite the narrative to fit their comfort. But Scorpio, use that piercing intuition that has always protected you. Look beneath the surface. Listen to what is not being said. Feel the vibrational truth behind every conversation. Because the real story, the one written between the lines, is about healing, not conflict. Now let's talk about timing. The window between November 17 and 21 is not random. In astrology, this week is marked by a tension between Pluto, your ruling planet, and Saturn. But tension in astrology is not danger, it is activation. Pluto is the planet of transformation, death and rebirth, karmic restoration, secrets, wills, inheritances, buried wealth. Saturn rules law, structure, contracts, and long-term legacies. When these two energies activate each other, inheritance moves, documents surface, secrets rise, truth finds the person it belongs to, you. The number 8 appears repeatedly in your field at this time, the number of power, cycles, karmic justice, and long-term wealth. This is not lottery energy, this is lineage energy. This is folding of timelines. This is something passed down with intention. The number 11 appears as confirmation, angelic timing, spiritual alignment, the thinning of the veil between the physical and the unseen. When 11 appears, the message is clear. You are exactly where you're meant to be. And the number 23 appears as the vibration of rewriting destiny, taking ownership of your life, changing the narrative you were handed. These numbers are not predictions, they are signals. The universe is already speaking to you. Pay attention. Now, Scorpio, we need to talk about your emotional body. Because receiving something this significant, especially when others may not support you, can stir unconscious guilt, fear, or doubt. You may feel unworthy. You may feel hesitant. You may find yourself worrying about what others will think. But your energy is shifting from survival to sovereignty, from shrinking to standing tall, from being forgotten to being chosen. Let yourself rise into this moment. If you feel overwhelmed, return to grounding rituals. Light a golden or copper candle to activate ancestral wealth frequencies. Wear sapphire blue to protect your emotional space. Drink calming herbs like chamomile or ginger to steady your nervous system. Journal about your worthiness, not in the context of what you've done, but in the context of who you are. Write these words somewhere private. I am safe to receive. I am worthy to receive. What belongs to me cannot be taken from me. These are not affirmations, these are energetic instructions. And now we approach the deeper truth, one you may not expect. This legal notice, this inheritance, this document, it is not only coming to you, it is coming through you, meaning you are not the end of the story. You are the turning point. You are being handed something that was meant to be carried by someone with emotional intelligence, spiritual maturity, and the strength to break generational cycles, not perpetuate them. This inheritance may help you financially, yes, but more importantly, It may help your future family, your lineage, your purpose, your calling. This is why you were chosen. Not because you needed the money, not because you were the closest relative, not because you were entitled, but because you were the one with the capacity to transform this inheritance into healing. You are the healer of your bloodline, Scorpio. The anchor, the bridge, the restoration. And when the legal notice arrives, when the phone call comes, when the envelope reaches your door, you will know. You will feel it in your bones. The shift, the weight, the truth. This is not the beginning of something new. It is the return of something that was always yours. Write in the comments, I claim what was written for me. Not as hope, as alignment.